This Latias Kingambit team has appeared in numerous top cuts over the last week. Hello everyone, Sableye here and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about exactly why this team is so strong in the early days of Regulation F. We'll talk about the team as a whole, then we'll throw some spreads in and discuss where there's maybe room to play for the team going forward. To start things off, we're going to start with the Gambit-Latias synergy. Now, not only is Latias capable of hitting those fighting types that threaten Kingambit super hard, you also have the ability to now, Kingambit's also weak to fire, Latias resists. Kingambit is weak to ground, Latias is immune, right? The type synergies defensively are really strong, as well as the type synergies offensively, right? Latias is weak to ghost types, Kingambit picks that off, right? The type synergy there is incredible. You also get incredible support tool in Tailwind on your Latias here, which really enables Kingambit. And Kingambit loves that speed control, right? Kingambit has that, you know, I can kind of be that Trick Room Sweeper if I want, but it's also got that kind of middling speed tier as well, where if you put enough speed into it, you know, you get the Tailwind mode, and you get that option as well. So Latias definitely supports Kingambit incredibly well. You also have just Tailwind for the rest of your team in Ogerpon and Landorus. Don't forget about the rest of the team now. That was only 2 pieces, right? You can support your team with Tailwind on Ogerpon, Landorus-I, Flutter main. This team is absolutely incredibly well built. And moving on, we got Ogerpon and Incineroar. This is a Fire, Water, Grass core in 2 Pokemon. They are 2 incredibly bulky support pieces that just not only give you the ability to pivot, but they also give you the ability to just put out damage whenever you really feel it necessary, right? If all of a sudden I'm in a spot where I just need to get a 70% instant off the field, boom, Ogerpon can just drop an Ivy Cudgel and get rid of it, you know? Or if I need a spot to get rid of those grass types, boom, Incineroar can drop those Flare Blitzes out, you know? And just absolutely run through people. You know, sometimes, like, people forget about the offensive capabilities of these defensive pieces. So not only, yes, is it a great defensive pivot, are they able to pivot around, support the rest of your pieces, but they're also capable of turning into those damage dealers, and that's where you don't really have those pieces that are just kind of sitting there. The only one piece on this team that kind of just sits there sometimes is actually Latias, and we'll talk about that in a bit when we get into the actual spreads, because it does kind of just sit there at times, which is a little bit unfortunate, right? And then you have Landorus Incarnate, which is just an incredible balance breaker in this format. In a format where Incineroar, Rillaboom, and Urshifu are good, and you can beat all 3 of them if you're playing the Landorus properly, that just feels incredibly strong to me. This mon is going to be incredible this format. I don't know why I've said incredible 18 times already in this video, but we're running with it now. You know, Earth Power Sludge Bomb, incredible typing. You know, they want to switch the grass type in to live the Earth Power. And you catch them with a Sludge Bomb, you're killing them. If the Flutter main goes Terra Fairy and you hit it with a Sludge Bomb, it's super effective. You're probably killing that as well. A lot of cool tools on this team right now. And then overall, it's just a really strong balanced team. And as a balanced player, this is exactly what balanced players are looking for. You're looking for that chance into everything. You want to have a team that has tools that can kind of deal with everything if you're playing it properly. And that, in my opinion, is exactly what this team is. You know, you have your big hitters in Flutter main and Landorus-I. Kingambit can kind of follow suit with that if you catch the parting shot or if you catch that intimidate boost, right? There's a lot of options there, right? But the main 2 big hitters are that Flutter main and that Landorus. Then you have some sort of speed control. In this case, it's speed control on an incredibly bulky piece that not only allows you to pivot, but also allows you to get Tailwind up, gives you that speed control for the rest of your team. You have the ability, as I just mentioned, to pivot around, right? You have Latias, Ogerpon, Incin. The type synergy here is incredible. The defensive capabilities of this team to switch in and out and allow yourself to get into position to attack is insane. You have so many tools to be able to capitalize on that, and that's one of the main things I love. And then you also just have redirection, you know, because like a balanced team doesn't necessarily need the redirection, but it has it, you know, and that's something I really like about this team too. It's just I have so many tools, you know. If I think that Landorus is amazing, but I can't get my Tailwind up to outpace things, well, that's fine. I can always just go Ogerpon Landorus, and now I can just save my Landorus with my Follow Me. You know, if I can't utilize my Follow Me, I can utilize my Tailwind to get my Landorus going. Basically what I'm saying is here, this team is an incredibly built, balanced team that kind of has options and tools into everything, which is definitely why you're seeing it so strong right now, because early format there is not a lot that we really know for certain right now. So having that team that's able to pilot into pretty much anything as long as you are playing well is a very, very strong very, very strong tool to have, very, very strong team to have, even if the team itself kind of feels lackluster overall. Although I do think that's not the case here. Let me get that straight. I do think this team is incredibly, incredibly strong. Like Ogerpon, Lando, Gambit, and then Incin. Those four alone feel incredibly strong every time I've tested them, because I've been playing similar things for most of the format. So seeing the team kind of function and everybody's kind of finding the right six is really, really cool to see. So I definitely wanted to feature that. So we're back with some spreads now, and we're going to start with Kingambit here just because it's kind of like one of the bigger pieces of the team in my opinion. And the Assault Vest over the Black Glasses, because last format it was Black Glasses Kingambit. This is the Mon, this is the setup Mon. You're going to set up, you're going to sweep, you're going to go crazy. This format right now, I do think it might settle back down to being able to run the Swords Dance Kingambit, but right now being able to take that Flutter Mane and pressure it back with that Iron Head, being able to Terra Fairy and go Terra Blast if you wanted to. You don't need to have the setup on Kingambit for the Kingambit to be functioning anymore. And Assault Vest has always been an incredible item on it, so people have kind of gone back to the Assault Vest now. You start taking hits a little bit better. You pressure Flutter Mane back with an Iron Head, right? Kowtow, Cleave, Sucker Punch is still really good dark coverage, right? Like, you're still doing incredible things. You're beating those Goldengos, which you want it to be anyways with the Swords Dance variant. The only thing you don't have is that ability to set yourself up if they're playing around you. So they're obviously a little bit more able to play around around you slightly easier, because you're not running something like those safety goggles or the black glasses that just either going to put out big damage or ignore the Amoonguss. But I think Assault Vest is probably the right item on this team right now. And then the spread, there is tons of options right now with this spread. You can lower the HP, but like max HP, max attack is probably perfectly fine as well. I just left it at the 196 for the attack bump, right? You could go a little bit higher, you could go a little bit lower, but I don't know if I'd want to go lower because this bump feels really good for damage output from Kingambit. Defense, you're going to leave at 4 always. This is where there's more room to play with the speed and special defense, right? Like I said before, you have the Tailwind on the Latias. How much you want to capitalize on this Tailwind is really entirely up to you, right? And you can go up to 77, and I don't know really what that hits. That's 144 in Tailwind. Sorry, 154 in Tailwind, my bad. And that's going to actually outpace. I actually like that a lot, actually. Now that it just kind of sits there. That's 154 in Tailwind. And that is faster than those modest Landorus-I's that maybe some people are trying to get away with running right now. We'll talk about modest Landorus-I in a bit, but that does outpace the modest Landorus-I, which is definitely a cool option if you're looking to hit that jump. I'll probably leave it there. But once again, if you feel like you need a little bit more to get the special attack English, Ryan. If you feel like you need a little bit more to eat those special attacks, right, you can definitely go ahead and do that. Maybe drop the speed. You don't maybe care about being in Tailwind, right? You can send it this way. But I do think having that speed, especially in conjunction with Tailwind, really, really helps a lot. So I think something like this is what you're looking at as a skeleton. But once again, I think most of these spreads, guys, there's room to play with on them. Anyways, Latias, you go Terra Poison here. There is zero reason to not go Terra Poison. Okay, sure, you can go like a Terra Electric, have realistically no weaknesses because of Levitate. But Poison, you get strong resistances, and you're only weak to one thing anyways, and that is Psychic. But if you're weak to Psychic on a team with double Dark types, and you're already a Psychic type before, so then you're playing Mind Games still, right? Being weak to Psychic doesn't feel too bad on this team, and Poison gives you those immunities still. You know, you get to resist the fairies, you get to resist the dark types. I got that wrong. You get to resist the fighting types that, once again, even after I Terra, I can now switch in and eat that fighting move that's blocking my Kingambit. I don't know why I said dark types. Anyways, besides the point, you run Mist Ball. You are 100% running Mist Ball on your Latias. There is zero reason to not run this move. This move, along with Luster Purge on the Latios, got buffed this generation. They are now, I believe, 95 base power each. I don't know exactly on Luster Purge, but Mist Ball for sure. 95 base power and a 50% chance to lower the target's special attack by 1. That is incredibly, incredibly strong. There is no reason not to run that. That is just better than a Moonblast. and everybody runs Moonblast as a fairy move. There's no reason not to run Mistball on this piece. That is your damage dealing move. And then you have your kind of your coverage move, what you're really looking for here. This kind of fits your team. I am a fan of Ice Beam. I think Ice Beam puts a lot of pressure onto the Lando-I's, and especially if those Lando-I's right now are running that Terra Poison, right? If you go Ice Beam Mistball, you hit them in and out of Terra, and that's definitely something to consider. But if you're looking for more of a big damage button, I do recommend Draco Meteor, and I think it's probably the more consistent option, just because then you're not completely walled by Incin. Like, you know, you get Incin at 30%. You can probably break it with the Draco Meteor, as opposed to if I'm running Mistball Ice Beam, I cannot break Incin at all. You know, it's just a super safe switch in for them. They never really get punished for that. So Draco Meteor is super consistent, but if you're looking to like hit those Lando-I's in and out, I do like Ice Beam here. I think it's a really cool option. Icy Wind, I also believe you get as well. Actually, do you? Yeah, okay, cool. I don't know, I didn't want to lie to you guys, I had to double check. Anyways, you do get Icy Wind as well, but once again, your speed control on this piece is Tailwind, right? You run Tailwind here. This is simply what you do with this piece. It's going to be that slow, that bulky pivot piece that's going to be able to get Tailwind up, right? And then I like Recover because on that last turn of Tailwind, just being able to heal myself up if they're going to try and protect, stall it out, right? And then maybe allow myself to get another Tailwind, right? There's tons of options where Recover works, especially in those end games, versus maybe something like a Rillaboom or an Ogerpon Water, where they have to hit into you numerous times into the Rocky Helmet. Obviously, the Ogerpon gets around that with the Ivy Cudgel because it's not actually a contact move, but in those end games where those physical attackers and they have to hit into you, to hit into that Rocky Helmet to start slowly chipping themselves down, and you have that recover ability, it really, really helps. Right? Rocky Helmet, really, really strong. You can switch into Urshifu's really, really easily. You punish the Urshifu's as well. It feels incredibly strong. Obviously, you hit them with Mistball. It's a very good Urshifu check on its own. It just feels like a really, really strong option on Latias here. However, some things that I want to see moving forward is maybe safety goggles. If Amoonguss starts picking up again, I don't know where you would put the safety goggles on this team, but I really do think that there would need to be a safety goggles on this team, just because Ogerpon on its own is not enough of a spore immunity for the team, right? If you're able to spore Kingambit, Flutter, Lando, Incin, and Latias, right? Because Latias' Mistball, yes, it's doing a lot to Amoonguss, but it's not picking up the clean one shot, right? Especially not on this Latias build that's incredibly, incredibly bulky. And I would like to see a safety goggle somewhere on this team moving forward. That is, whether it's on the Latias, whether it becomes on the Incineroar, we'll get into that in a bit. But moving on to the spread, this is the spread that the VGC Corner had tweeted out recently. They have the full explanation up there. I'll leave that link down below for you guys if you're looking for the full explanation. But basically, long story short, super bulky. You know, you start living dazzling gleams from like Flutter, from non-Terra specs Flutter main. All of a sudden, like, you get Tailwind up and then you just kind of reverse sweep them, right? But this is what I was saying earlier, where I was mentioning that Latias kind of just sits on the field because you want to build this piece bulky. It really appreciates being built bulky. So you're left generally with 12, maybe 36 for for that special attack, right? And that's not a lot, you know. Yes, 1-10 special attack that is strong, but not being able to invest into it kind of leaves this piece not getting the knockouts you may want it to have. But if you can utilize it properly, cycle in and out, utilize it as your Tailwind setter, get the Mistball chip damage off, get the Rocky Helmet chip damage off, it can really support the rest of your team. You could run a more offensive set, but I feel like if you're going to run offensive, you go Latios instead of Latias. But I think you really want to go bulky. I think it really appreciates being bulky on this team. It just allows it to do what it wants to do to support the team. Moving on, Ogerpon. Guys, it's your standard Ogerpon Water. I am not going to spend too much time on Ogerpon Water here. This is incredibly standard. Ivy Cudgel, Hornleech, Spiky Shield, Follow Me. We've been seeing this set for forever. There is tons of options with your spread. Guys, I literally did slider numbers. The only calc that I actually ran with this spread was max HP, 100 defense, and that's living the Banded Dragonite E-Speeds beside Shenpao when they Terra Normal, just because I feel like having that option to be able to go Ogerpon Flutter main into that mode, go Follow Me, D-Gleam, keep your Flutter main alive, and just keep pieces living is incredibly, incredibly option. Whereas if Ogerpon were to go down, on the first turn to that E-Speed. The Shenpao then hits the Flutter Mane and then Sucker Punches the Flutter Mane the following turn, and then you're in trouble. So I think having the minimum of 252, 100 to be able to guarantee you're living those E-Speeds from that Dragonite in that matchup specifically is a must-have on Ogerpon. What you do with the rest of this spread, whether you want to go faster, whether you want to go slower, whether you want more attack, whether you want less special defense, that is entirely up to you. You could take whatever Ogerpon spread you've been comfortable using at this point, and it's probably going to be solid. But for the sake of having a spread in here, I kind of just wanted to chuck something, you know? I wanted to chuck something, and I wanted to highlight the 252, 100 bulk on the defensive side for that Dragonite. That's really the only thing I wanted to talk about. Flutter Mane, same thing as always, guys. You can run whatever specs Flutter Mane you have been comfortable with running right now. You know, I built this spread, just some nice general defensive bulk, some nice special attack on Timid, obviously. Like, you're not hitting like crazy hard, but the big thing that I calced for here was hitting 194, which outpaces those iron boulders that are max speed 193. And that's, I didn't really want to go slower than that. Like, you can go slower than that by all means. You could probably switch this to booster energy if you wanted to as well. But I think having this piece as your massive damage dealer with that choice specs is incredibly strong. Once again, Icy Wind is cool for secondary speed control. But you can do a lot of things with this Flutter Mane, with this fourth move. You know, Icy Wind, you can go Charm or Perish Song if you're worried about Dondozo or setup or anything like that, right? This fourth move doesn't realistically get clicked too often. So it's Moonblast, Shadow Ball, Dazzling Gleam constantly. That's your thing. It's your normal specs Flutter Mane, guys. And then, once again, whatever spread you've been using on Flutter Mane and you're comfortable with probably fits. If you're looking to fine-tune for certain regionals and events, though, I would definitely recommend like looking into where like you can capitalize on maybe like having like Tailwind and then being faster than like maybe something else in Tailwind, like just keeping yourself faster. If you're looking for something like that, maybe you can go slower because you have Tailwind. There's a lot of options, right? You can look into that, but to start off as like cookie cutter starting point, you can pretty much slap whatever Flutter Mane you've been using into this slot. It'll probably get a good job done for the time being. And then Incineroar, once again, I was talking about safety goggles earlier. There is room to play with this piece, right? Citrus Berry is the common piece right now, but I do want to see safety goggles, like I said before, come onto this team. I think it's needed somewhere on this team because Amoonguss scares me when I play this team, right? Amoonguss scares me. It's like I have to bring Ogerpon or my entire team is going to bed, and I don't like that. Right, so I want to have that secondary option for Amoonguss. Incineroar is a very viable option for it, but Citrus Berry feels incredibly strong as well. The Terra type, there is room to play here. I don't think we've actually found the Terra type on Incineroar yet. You know, like with the Flutter Manes, we're all pretty confident that like, you know, Fairy is incredible, and maybe everybody's experimenting with the Stellar Terra right now, you know. With the Landorus-I, we're pretty confident it's Poison is the correct Terra type, you know. But with Incineroar, I don't think we found the common one or the correct one, so to speak, right? Just as a general cookie cutter option. So we've seen Ghost. I believe the paste I took originally was Ghost. I've seen a few dragons on this piece. I like Fairy, but really there's room to play with this Terra type right here. There's tons of options. And then you just go with your standard moveset, guys. It's Flare Blitz, Knockoff, Parting Shot, Fake Out. Fake Out support is incredible. Flare Blitz, like I said, you can go on the offense if you need to. Knockoff, just get rid of some of those annoying items, you know. Maybe your opponent has like an Assault Vest, you knock off the Assault Vest, Flutter Mane comes in and cleans up the game from there, right? Just that's basically what you're looking at with these four moves. You're probably running these four moves 9 times out of 10. You could, in theory, drop Knockoff. Now, this is something I haven't tested, but you could drop Knockoff and run Helping Hand. Because you have the double dark move on Kingambit, you don't necessarily need it on Incineroar. But the way I look at this team, Kingambit is not coming to every game. So having this dark move here and still having an option to have a dark move, because there's a 99% chance one of Kingambit or Incineroar is coming to every set, coming to every game. So having that dark move option is important. So if you're looking for that dark move, and you know, I think Knockoff is there. But if you're looking to say that, you know what, I'm bringing Gambit more often than not, I'm not really utilizing Knockoff, Helping Hand is a very cool option besides Specs Flutter Mane. Because you just pick up damage. You just pick up KOs. Helping Hand, Terra Fairy, Moonblast just kill things. Right? And I think that's the one area where this would capitalize with a Helping Hand. But other than that, I think Knockoff is by far the most consistent. I wouldn't deviate too much. Spread, I opted for the physical spread. Physical defensive one, because with the Citrus Berry, it allows you to survive those Surging Strikes from certain Urshifus. And just being able to live that and allow your Incineroar to fake out once again or to parting shot once again, that extra turn of utility from Incineroar is super, super important to me. Being able to live those Surging Strikes because of the Citrus Berry feels incredible. You kind of got to run something bulky enough to do that in my pace in this case, and I like 156. Now, if you switch to safety goggles, you can make a case to say a special defensive variant is more optimal because you're not living Surging Strikes anyways, and you're intimidating the other physical attackers, so that is definitely room to play. Attack and speed, I would actually recommend dropping this to 4 and picking up your speed quite a bit. Maybe even finding a way to raise it a bit. But 85, you know, those old school Iron Hands used to sit at 85, and that felt like a very good speed tier. So that's probably where I'm going to sit with Incineroar for the most part here, right? You don't really need the attack investment. The difference between 4 and 36 isn't enough to justify running it and lowering that speed. So you're probably looking at something like this on one of those physical bulky Incins, guys. But once again, there's room to play. Cater it to see, you know, maybe you realize you're playing the team and you're losing because Incineroar is switching in and dying to some sort of special attack, and you want to change that and you want to optimize that. Feel free to do that. There is tons of room to play with this team, tons of room to play with these spreads as well. But once again, if I'm running Citrus Berry, I like having the bulky option. I like being able to potentially survive those Surging Strikes as long as they're not like Terra Water or anything, you know. We take those, we live, we get another parting shot, we get another fake out, you know. Just having that ability to keep my pivot piece alive is incredible. And then Landorus, guys, there's not as much room to play with Landorus here. I love Life Orb. I think Life Orb is incredible. You have to run it, in my opinion. If you're not running Life Orb Lando-I, I think you're throwing. I'm going to be honest. Then you go Sheer Force because your moves with secondary effects get 1.3 times power, and it also means you no longer take Life Orb chip when you're using those moves. So by clicking Earth Power and Sludge Bomb, you are not taking Life Orb chip, but you're getting the boost from Life Orb, which is incredible. Terra Poison just to boost the Sludge Bomb. Also, it just makes sense. It just makes sense. Nothing else to say. It just makes sense. Substitute or Sandsear Storm, that is really up to how you're playing the team. On this variant of the team, on this balanced team, I like Substitute. It allows me to, you know, sit in front of those Amoonguses that are probably going to try to click Spore into me and put me to sleep. It just, you know, I can fake out the slot beside Amoongus, Spore, sub with Lando, and Amoongus is left doing nothing. You know, maybe I actually put Goggles on Incineroar as well for that case, and then I can go fake out into the Amoongus partner, sub, and then Amoongus can't put either of us to sleep, right? It's a free substitute. I think the way this team functions, there is so many opportunities for you to get a substitute up that it becomes way more worth than Sandsear Storm. Now, on a little bit more of a hyper offense on an aggressive team, I think Sandsear Storm makes more sense. But given that this is some sort of balanced team, I think having Substitute and the abilities to get Substitute up are there. I think you want to have Substitute. And then Spread. Guys, there is a lot of options here. You can try to go slower and bulkier because you have the Latias with Tailwind. You can try to just run max speed modest instead, right? There is tons and tons of different variations. You can run a little bit of bulk. You can run a lot of bit of bulk. I think, though, however, you don't like going up against opposing Lando-I with this team. Obviously, you have answers to it. But I think using Lando-I as one of your Lando-I answers is incredible. And because of that, I think max speed. Because if you are max speed and you are the faster Landorus, you are breaking their sub first. You are hitting into them potentially before they can sub. You are, if they want to go Terra Poison, then you're hitting them hard with an Earth Power and you're taking the kill. Obviously, you don't hit them hard without that. But sometimes they want to get that Terra Poison going. But all of a sudden, they Terra Poison. Now your Lando is just going to be faster and kills them. So you basically take away a Terra from them unless they're in a really dire situation or unless they think they can deal with your Lando later, right? I think having the ability for fast Lando versus other Landos is incredibly, incredibly strong. Also just guarantees that you're outpacing the likes of Urshifu as well, which feels really, really good. I also believe this outpaces Chi-Yu as well. I believe Chi-Yu's max speed is 167, so that is also very, very clutch as well. Obviously, Chi-Yu's not crazy big into format right now, but this is probably where I'd start with this team. If you feel like you want a little bit slower, maybe a little bit more bulk, add something here, add something there, feel free to go ahead and do so. I haven't really played around with Landorus too much, so I kind of went with the basic spreads, but there are options here is basically what I'm saying. But the team is incredibly strong, guys. I did end up deciding to play a match for you guys. I was debating it. You know, we were at the 25-minute mark. I was like, do we actually play a best of 3? But I do think it's very valuable to see kind of how the team functions. So we'll get one game in for you guys, and it's actually going to be kind of a setup slash balance team on the opposing end. I don't know if I believe in Goodra in this format. I'm going to be honest. They're actually Sap Sipper, Terra Ghost. I was expecting Shell Armor, but you know what? Sap Sipper, Terra Ghost is kind of cool. Incin, Assault Vest Incin, I think is cool. It's actually going to be able to live the Landorus stuff, so that's something to consider. Ogerpon Standard, substitute on their Lando. Rocky Helmet Zap. Zap is weird in this format. I don't know if I like it. It's cool, but I don't know if I like it in this format. And then obviously Booster, looks like Booster Speed Flutter because they have the Icy Wind is what I'd guess. So let's see how I want to play this. Okay, so we both have passive Tailwind. I really, really like Ogerpon in this matchup. I think Ogerpon is incredible. They have to obviously land a Hurricane into me to kill me, which I don't think they're going to be capable of doing. I mean, they can, but I don't think I'm going to let them get it off. I think I'm going to leave Flutter Mane. And this is where having a helping hand on Incineroar, like I was talking about, is actually really fun. Because in this case, in a game like this, I lead helping hand plus Flutter Mane. I just absolutely decimate their entire team. You know, I can't unfortunately do that right now. But I am still going to leave Flutter Mane Incin. It's probably going to be a mirror lead. I like Landorus a ton in order to be able to break the Goodra. I think it's a must-have. And it really just comes down to, do I want to try and match their Tailwinds or do I want to play passively? I don't know if I really like Latias here. I feel like Kingambit puts on a little bit more pressure, at least in game 1, so we'll rock with that. And we'll see what happens. And they're going to go Lando Goodra. And this is, like I said, where I want that helping hand. Because helping hand Shadow Ball actually would have killed Landorus here, regardless of if they Terra Poison or not. It just gets the kill, right? Now I have to kind of make that call. Are they going to protect? What's going on with the Goodra, right? It's a little bit more ugly, so to speak. But they can't really kill me. So I'm probably just going to launch the Shadow Ball into Lando and fake out the Goodra. I guess yeah, okay, perfect. I was going to say, I guess they can just, like, Earth Power the Incin, but that would feel like a really questionable turn, if you ask me. Like, that just wasn't it, in my opinion. So now I'm going to go Shadow Ball. I'll pivot out into my Landorus. Right? And the synergy on this team, this is actually, I'm very happy we got this matchup. Because it's just going to show how the team can kind of pivot around. Hopefully I can do it justice. Earth Power goes right into my Lando. Can't get the kill. And they're just going to -1 Heavy Slam. And Fluttermane's going to live. Right? And that's a very aggressive Goodra. I've normally lived that a little bit better. But, okay. Once again, the Landorus, now it cannot set up substitute. I could kill it if I want. I pressure down to Goodra. I can actually double into the Goodra right here with Shadow Ball Earth Power. And that pretty much decimates the entire board except Zapdos. So I'm going to do exactly... Of course it's Zapdos in the back. Why wouldn't it be Zapdos in the back? That's fine. We still got our 50% done to Zap. We appear to be the faster Landorus as well. And we still put on incredible amounts of damage. So now I get Kingambit in. They cannot Sucker Punch right now. I'm just going to Sludge Bomb the Zapdos. And I will Sucker the Lando. And Sludge Bomb the Zap. I don't know if Sludge Bomb quite gets the KO on the Zapdos. Do I need to Terra Poison here, actually? Is there any harm in me Terra Poisoning? I actually don't think there's any downside in me going Terra Poison here. So I Sucker Punch over here to stop an Earth Power. And then I Sludge Bomb into Zap. And that should get the kill. Sucker Punch fails, that's fine, but we just kill Zapdos. And I probably didn't need to Terra. I feel like that gets the kill anyways, but I didn't really want to risk it. So we're here. We got Flutter Mane on the field on their end. I don't mind that because I just Earth Power Goodra and I will Iron Head into the Flutter Mane and just Earth Power the Goodra. That's a fair Terra Ghost. They kind of forced themselves into that. Earth Power for big damage. And now if they attack with the Goodra, yeah, if they were to have attacked with Goodra, they're not getting the Iron Defense off, and Kingambit can still hit super hard on the following turn. If they don't attack with the Goodra, then we're in a better... Right? If they attack, they kill me. If they don't attack, they're not getting this... Right? If they don't attack, then I still have a Lando. How do I close this? Let's go... They know I have Sucker Punch. They know I'm looking to Sucker Punch that Lando. This is going to be a body... My guess is Body Press and Protect from their Lando. I'm going to go Sucker Punch, Earth Power into the Goodra. It's going to cost me the game if they try to Acid Armor again. But if they don't go for the Acid Armor again, we're gaming. Because I think they don't want Lando to eat a Sucker Punch. They didn't Protect. But more importantly, oh, it's a Speed Tie. That is going to cost me. Oh, they Heavy Slammed. They heavy slammed, then we're back into game. Let's go. Okay. That is interesting. Losing to speed tie is weird. I mean, I guess I shouldn't have really guaranteed. I shouldn't have just said, yeah, I'm faster. But I really thought they were going to protect, kill the Gambit, and go from there. It's fine. I got the read wrong. That's okay. That's okay because they also kind of got the read wrong. Because they also wanted to just kill the Landorus. So it makes a little bit of sense. But let's see. Obviously, I could fake out the Landorus. They should protect. So I don't think I'm going to. I'm just going to sucker. The problem is if I sucker the Lando, I think I have to sucker Goodra. I think I can sucker Goodra. Does it kill? It's going to kill. So yeah, I can go fake out into Lando. Okay. Just attack, please. I need them to attack. This is a weird call. Yeah, they got it right. Okay. That's a really good play. Lando's here. I think they're going to try and go for a double protect. So I'm actually going to go sucker punch and knock off and see if I can cap it. Really? Really? I don't know if I agree with... Like, why though? If I just sucker the Lando and go knock off into Goodra, they start coming dangerously low. Although I do believe Goodra at +4 probably wins the game anyways. But that's fine. I banked too hard on being the faster Lando when it was very clearly could have still been a speed tie. So that's on me. That's where I lost that game. Should have covered that a little bit better. Got a couple reads wrong. It's fine. We adapt for game 2. Once again, I still think I like my game plan immensely. I don't think there's a lot that they can really capitalize on. Gambit is a little rough at the end game there, especially if they're going to be... I think I want to go Latias. As weird as that seems, like, yes, Sucker Punch was awesome. It allowed me to pin them in a certain way. Obviously, I didn't even use it properly. So, like, I think I'm going to shift gears here. I'm going to test out the Latias mode here. Because it does, in theory, seem fairly strong. Obviously, Gambit got that big, important kill onto the Flutter main. So I'm going to have to find a different way to utilize that and capitalize on that. But I think overall it shouldn't really be too big of a problem. So back to the game 1. I feel like if I sucker punched... Yeah, I don't know. I kept expecting them to just protect and kill Gambit with a body press. And they just never protected and killed Gambit with a body press. So that's on me. Like, that was... Maybe it doesn't kill Gambit. I actually don't know that calc. So maybe that is 100% on me. They actually go Ogerpon Flutter main. And this... I am perfectly fine with. So I'm going to go fake out into the Ogerpon. And because they are special attack boosting, we know that our Flutter main is actually faster than them now. So I can just go fake out Terra Fairy, Dazzling Gleam, and send damage right now. And there's not a lot they can really do to stop this. And, you know, this is just big damage. Fake out. I might get staticked. Of course, I'm going to get staticked. Why wouldn't I? And then there I said, like I said before, the big Dazzling Gleam. They're going to Shadow Ball into Flutter. Unfortunately, their Flutter main took that a little bit better than I was expecting. And I'm probably losing my Flutter now. But I think that's fine if my endgame... Actually, I might just get a high roll, though. That might have been a low roll. Is there a way I can utilize... Because I definitely don't want them getting Tailwind up. I definitely want to get rid of Zapdos here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to Parting Shot the Flutter. Just because it resets my Fake Out ability. And I'm just going to send a Dazzle. If I get the kill, this is fine. No, they actually are... I wonder if they're like calced to live that. It's a good Moonblast though. And we're going to get our Parting Shot. Maybe instead of Parting Shot, I should have gone for... Yeah, I probably should have just gone for the kill, right? Because then I make it a 2v2. They can't really reset. Yeah, that's on me. Anyways, we'll go Latias because it does beat the Ogerpon. That's probably wanting to switch back in front of the Landorus. And if they bring in the Goodra, which they probably also don't want to do, then we're still in a pretty decent spot. So the Flutter main being down to -1 can no longer kill my Latias right now. If they're going to go Terra Ghost, I don't care. The real question is, what are they going to do? I'm going to Sludge Bomb the Flutter main for the kill. And I think I'm just going to drop a... I'm going to drop a Draco. I don't think I need Tailwind right now to win this game. So I'm just going to start dropping damage into Goodra here. Yep, that, like I said, cannot kill my Latias. There's that big damage into Flutter. It's now gone. Here's a nice little Draco Meteor. Obviously not going to kill the Goodra by any means, but it's going to start doing the damage, and that's exactly what I'm looking for here. Okay. Getting through the Ogerpon is now the issue. It's now the issue of I don't know the speed tiers between Latias and Ogerpon. I could try to set up a Tailwind. I don't like that as much. I think there's also a chance they protect and try to get damage off with Goodra. Because we've seen Earth Power do 49. We saw... Okay, I'm not going to get the kill on doubling into Goodra. If I think they're going to protect, Substitute is my best play. Right? And that's where... Actually, what if I went like... See, and because I'm paralyzed, I can't switch Incin back in. I'm going to go Sludge Bomb Draco, and I'm just going to try and kill Ogre. Okay, they're going to give it to me. Oh, it just kills Ogre straight up. I didn't realize the Ogre was just going to die to that. Goodra's here. Goodra's going to what? Heavy Slam? Life do itself. Okay. So now it's reset my Latios and go Earth Power. And I'm doing this just so they have to hit me with an extra Heavy Slam into my Lando. We're doing 44%. Heavy Slam comes out, is no longer a 2-shot. It's probably not going to be a 2-shot anyways. But now I can actually make it a 3-shot. Yeah, let's get game 3. So, like I said, that's kind of the concept there. I definitely messed up earlier. I should have got rid of that Flutter Mane knowing that it was going to be a little bit of a nuisance. But all in all, it worked out in the end. And I think I run it back. Like, I don't see too many reasons to not run it. I really don't. Like, it just feels like a solid run, a solid line into this. You know, we get the Latios, which can kind of sit on the field, put some pressure on, make sure we're killing the Flutter Mane. I am curious if it is a roll or not. You know, I am incredibly curious. Knowing I doubled the Ogerpon last time, I'm gonna actually predict them to protect this time if they bring it. They're actually gonna lead to Zapdos. Okay, and this is where I would love Helping Hand, right? This is that I want to click Helping Hand here mode. They've been saving the Terra for their Goodra. Can I capitalize on just going Shadow Ball into Flutter Mane? I actually think I might. It's a little weird. This play is going to probably be weird, but I'm going to go Shadow Ball and I'm going to go Fake Out into the Flutter. Because I'm the faster Flutter Mane, if they go Terra Fairy, I get the Fake Out Shadow Ball for big damage. If they don't go Terra Fairy, I'm just faster and I'm going to kill them. That's a fair protect, you know? Never mind, it's just a double protect. So now they see me lock into Shadow Ball. Now I'm in their head. Do they force the Terra? Right? Do they want to go, I want to commit my Terra right now? They either have to commit their Terra or die. Or switch. They commit their Terra, they sack their Flutter or switch. Do I think there's a world in which they switch? If they switch, I just double it with Shadow Ball Flare Blitz unless they've brought their Incin. But they're not bringing their Incin in this matchup, I don't think. So I think I'm just going to safely double that. I can match Tailwinds with the Latios later, so I'm not too concerned if that happens. Yeah, okay. Like I said, it's the Flutter Mane that's preventing my Latios from really doing things. They're looking to maybe double Incin out here. It's not going to get it. Yeah, okay, I'm surprised by that play. I feel like you'd want to just kill my Flutter there. At least in my opinion, I feel like that's what you'd want to do. Because Zapdos, as good as Zapdos is, it doesn't put on that amount of pressure that you'd really like it to do. I'm going to go hard into Latios right now because Flutter Mane is obviously the piece that they want to kill. I could see them taking Incin though, actually. They either double Flutter Mane or just spread damage. I feel like it might be spread damage. I'm going to go Shadow Ball. If I lose Flutter Mane, it's fine. I'd rather have Fake Out pressure to get through Tailwind. So I'm going to go Shadow Ball into the Zapdos and bring in Latias for the Incin. We'll see if I can get this one right. Ivy Cudgel into Flutter Mane, not going to kill me. They're going to Hurricane and miss the Flutter Mane. So got fairly lucky with that one. It feels, I don't know. It's like you're banking on Hurricane at that point. I feel like you just go Thunderbolt to get the kill. You know? Like Thunderbolt, just Ivy Cudgel makes a lot more sense. So I feel like that's kind of on their end for missing. But, you know. Maybe they were trying to catch like my Ogerpon switch in or something, but without it being revealed, I think that's very greedy. Thunderbolt does very similar things. Now I'm going to sack the Incin to match Tailwinds. Oh, they brought their Incin. This is looking very strong. They didn't bring Goodra. Ivy Cudgel, like I said, I'm sacking the Incin. This was purposefully to sack and bring in my damage dealer. And now I get my Landorus-I. And now we just kind of win. I'm going to protect here. I don't really care what the Incin does. I'll drop a Mist Ball into the Ogerpon for some chip damage. Yeah, perfect. If this gets the kill, we're gaming. If it doesn't get the kill, we're still okay. And there's a Snarl. Okay, so their AV Incin, that's fine. It should be a W, I think. The AV Incin's a little weird, but I do think I just want to drop the... With Turns of Tailwind, I'm just going to drop the Earth Power into it. And I'm just going to Mist Ball the Zapdos. At this point, I want the Zapdos gone. I do not want them rematching Tailwind 2 Earth Powers is killing instant regardless of if they get a Snarl or not off. If they switch into Ogerpon, I can Sludge Bomb it next turn. We're perfectly gaming right now. Down goes Zapdos. Okay, they don't get a chance to match Tailwind. Ogerpon has been chipped. I'm going to protect my Lando here on the Fake Out turn. I know it seems a little odd, but it also just seems correct to me. And I'm going to drop a Draco to start chipping the instant down. And the Ivy Cudgel goes into me. That's fine. Latias is gaming. And they knock off. They actually take more chip damage from that, which is really, really strong. Because now it allows me to go Terra Poison. But I go Earth Power into the instant. And I go Dazzling Gleam. They are AV. So Dazzling Gleam, Earth Power should always get the kill on instant. If they protect Ogerpon, it's fine. If they would have Ivy Cudgel Lando, I Terra Poison to cover that. And now Incineroar goes down. And they're not winning this anymore. And it's a balance breaker, guys. This is what Landorus-I does. That was a very... I don't think I could have gotten a better showcase game there. I feel like that was really, really solid. It showcased kind of how the team can pivot around, how there's options into things, right? Like I lost to that Goodra game 1. I was like, no, let's find it. We adapt. You know, we move on from there. Right? And that is where this team functions, in my opinion. Right? It just gives you those options. It gives you that ability to just all of a sudden say, wait, hold on. I didn't play that game 1 great. Let me adjust. And it gives you those tools. I had the tools. You know, it's not like there's a lot of teams out there that would like, oh, I just lose to Goodra. No, this team had the tools. I made the correct adaptation and I went from there. Right? The team has the tools. Really, really like the team. Think it's a really, really cool team. I'll leave this paste down below for you guys to try out. As I mentioned before with all the spreads, feel free to work some of those around and play with them yourself. But there's tons of leeway with this team. This team is incredibly, incredibly strong. Thank you all so much for checking out the video, and I will catch you all in a future video.